On the distant planet of Thronos, far beyond the reach of the Galactic Council, a battle raged in the dark skies above. Ships of all sizes darted through the heavens, exchanging fire, and on the ground, beneath the glowing green mountains, a small group of soldiers from the human military made their final stand. One of them was Lieutenant Alana Miller, a young officer known for her quick thinking and fearless leadership. The Thronians, a massive and ruthless species, had invaded the planet, wiping out much of its inhabitants. Alana's team had been sent on a mission to help the struggling resistance, but as the battle turned against them, their ship was shot down. Now Alana lay on the cold, rocky ground, her breathing shallow. She was alone. Her team was either captured or dead, and her body was bruised and broken from the explosion that had taken out their transport. Her hand reached toward her communicator, but it had been damaged in the crash. The hope of escape seemed like a distant dream. She tried to move, but winced in pain as her legs screamed with every inch. Blood soaked through her uniform, but she refused to give up. Not yet. The Thronians, ruthless invaders who saw humans as nothing more than weak, inferior beings, had no interest in helping her. They would be back to finish what they started. She had no illusions about that. But Alana had a secret weapon, one that the Thronians had no understanding of, the power of humanity. She pulled herself up with great effort and reached into a small compartment in her gear. Inside was a tiny black device, an emergency beacon. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Alana had been instructed to use it only in the most desperate of situations. This was one of those times. She activated the beacon, her finger trembling as she pressed the button. The device emitted a low hum, sending a signal out into the deep reaches of space. The Thronians wouldn't know what was coming for them. They were about to learn the one thing they had underestimated. Humans were not easily defeated. Back in the heart of the Human Federation, at the center of their military operations, the signal from Alana's beacon was received. The message, short and simple, was transmitted across the galaxy. Wounded and abandoned. Need assistance. Within moments, the call for aid reached the fleet's commanders, who immediately scrambled their forces. This wasn't just any rescue mission. This was a direct order from the highest authority. If one human was in trouble, the entire fleet would respond. It was time for the Thronians to learn that the Federation never left their own behind. The lead ship, the Sovereign, a colossal dreadnought of human design, activated its engines. Its crew of elite soldiers and officers, the best humanity had to offer, prepared for battle. Captain Evelyn Winters, a seasoned veteran with years of combat experience, stood on the bridge, eyes focused on the holographic map of Thronos. Prepare to engage. All hands, Captain Winters ordered, her voice steady and commanding. She turned to her communications officer. Send the message to every ship in the fleet. We are not just rescuing Lieutenant Miller. We are sending a message to every alien race that dares to challenge humanity. This ends today. Yes, Captain, the officer replied, nodding and tapping his console. As the Sovereign and its fleet of warships made their way toward Thronos, Alana's beacon continued to pulse faintly. She had to hold on. She had to survive. If anyone could make it through, it would be the humans. But first, she had to survive the Thronians. Hours passed, and Alana's situation grew more dire. Her vision blurred as the pain in her leg intensified. She clutched her side, her breath ragged, knowing the Thronians would be returning soon. The sounds of their ships, low and menacing, echoed across the valley as they approached. Then the sky above her darkened even more, but it wasn't the Thronians coming for her. It was something else. From the horizon, a single ship appeared, massive, gleaming in the light of the distant sun. It was the Sovereign. It was here. The Thronians hadn't noticed yet. They were focused on their search for survivors. Alana knew this was her only chance. If she could make it to the landing zone in time, help would arrive. She didn't hesitate. She pushed herself to her feet, dragging her wounded leg, ignoring the pain. The Sovereign would be there soon, but it would take more than just a ship to save her. As she moved, the ground shook violently beneath her, and the Thronian ships began to notice the human fleet. They turned to face the incoming ships, their weapons charging, but Alana didn't stop. She kept moving, her breath coming in ragged gasps, determined to get to safety. Aboard the Sovereign, Captain Winters watched the battle unfold. The Thronians, confused and outmatched, scrambled to respond, but they were no match for the might of the Federation fleet. In a matter of moments, the Sovereign's weapon systems fired, and the first Thronian ship disintegrated into a fiery explosion. "Deploy the rescue team," Winters ordered. "We're not just here to fight, we're here to show them who they're dealing with." A small squadron of elite human soldiers, equipped with high-tech combat gear, descended in shell pods. They landed near Alana, their presence a beacon of hope. Lieutenant Miller, the squadron leader, called, rushing to her side. "We've got you." Alana looked up, tears of relief in her eyes. "I knew you'd come." "Of course we did," the soldier said, helping her to her feet. "You didn't think we'd leave you out here with these aliens, did you?" The Thronians, now realizing the full scale of the human response, began to retreat, but it was too late. The Federation had arrived, and the Thronians would not leave this planet alive. The battle was swift and brutal. The Thronians were no match for the human soldiers, who fought with unyielding ferocity. The Thronians underestimated humanity's resolve, and that would be their downfall. In the end, the invaders were defeated, and Thronos was saved. As Alana was escorted back to the Sovereign, she looked up at the stars, knowing one thing for sure: humanity would never be abandoned. When the Federation called, they answered. And in the galaxy, that was a force no enemy could ever hope to defeat. It was a lesson the Thronians would never forget. Never underestimate the power of humanity.